amidst all of this talent tonight. Long ago in China, people loved their gardens. They planted trees and plants and flowers, and they were gardens everywhere in the land, from the smallest villages to the biggest cities. The story tonight that I'm going to tell you is about two of those gardeners. One was a little boy named Ping. He lived in a tiny village far, far off in the countryside. And he was one of those people that could just plant anything and it would grow. I'm sure you've met people like that. And they're just amazing. You know, I've got a brown thumb. These guys have green thumbs. Anything he planted would grow into the most beautiful plants, the most gorgeous flowers. The other had the biggest and most elaborate garden in all of the land. It was the emperor. He was an old man, and he had beautiful, exotic animals and plants and trees, but what he loved most about his garden were the flowers. And every day he would go in the garden, he would tend them, and he would enjoy them in the garden. He was an old man, though, and he did not have any children, so he did not have anyone to become the emperor after he died. And he thought long and hard, how was he going to decide who would be the next emperor? He finally decided to let the flowers decide. He sent out a proclamation to every corner of the land, calling for all of the children to come, and they would get a special seed from the emperor. They should take it back to their homes, they should plant it, and in a year's time, the next spring, they should bring back their best. He would then decide who would become the next emperor. Ping was so excited when he heard this because he knew he was wonderful at growing things. So he thought, sure, he had a really, really good chance. So he went with all the other children, and he was so pleased when he got his seed from the emperor, and he kept it safe all the way home. He found a nice pot, he filled it with soil, he planted that seed, he watered it, he tended it every single day, and he looked, and after a week, 2 weeks, after 3, nothing grew. He found a better pot. He filled it with the richest soil he could find. He put it in the sunniest spot in the yard. He tended it carefully and watered it, and nothing grew. Nothing. Finally, the next spring came, and all he had was an empty pot. He saw all of his friends and his neighbors. They were walking down the road to the emperor's palace with their pots of beautiful flowers of all colors. And they were all calling to him, Ping, what happened to you? Oh, you always grow wonderful plants. What happened? And he felt worse and worse and worse about his empty pot because he knew he had tried his hardest. His father saw the teasing and saw his son slumped down, and he said, Ping, you have done your best, and your best is good enough to show the emperor. You should take your pot to the emperor's palace. So Ping, kind of feeling a little bit strange, carrying this empty pot with everyone else with beautiful flowers, walked down the road to the emperor's palace, and he waited with all the other children. The emperor walked along, and he was looking at all the children and all of those beautiful flowers, and you couldn't read from his expression anything. Was he happy? Was he mystified? Was he angry? Was he sad? No one could tell. But when he got to Ping, he stopped. And he looked very carefully at that empty pot. And he said, Young man, why is it that you have an empty pot when everyone else has these beautiful flowers? And practically in tears, Ping explained how he had planted it and tended it and put it in the sunniest spot and took care of it, and nothing grew and nothing grew. But he said, my father said that I had done my best, and my best was good enough to show you. And the emperor nodded. And then he turned to everyone else and he said, finally, someone is honest enough and brave enough to bring their best. Where all of you got your flowers, your seeds, I have no idea, because the seeds that I gave all of you had been cooked and would not sprout. Only Ping here was honest enough and brave enough to bring his very best work, and so he shall be the next emperor. And Ping and his family moved to the palace, and every day Ping and the emperor would go out into the gardens and tend the flowers. And as they did so over the weeks and over the months, the emperor taught Ping all he needed to know Well, that is all he didn't already know to become a good emperor. And when in time the old emperor did die, Ping became a wonderful, wonderful emperor who ruled his land and took care of his people the same way that he grew his garden and tended to his flowers. That is a story called The Empty Pot by the author Demi. Thank you.